This is an expanded version of a talk I gave at Ignite 2022 at Burning Man, Black Rock City this year. It's called Show Us Your Bots. Folks, we're getting bot fucked, and it's without our consent, which is very, very worrying to me. It's a serious issue. Twitter says less than 5% of its users are bots. Elon famously is disagreeing with them, not wanting to pay $44 billion for what he says is more, higher percentage of bots. I'm here to say that that's the wrong question, or at least an incomplete question. What percentage are bots don't matter nearly as much as imagine if I told you 5% of my army are Terminators. Well, that 5% could be so powerful that they could eliminate your entire army and everyone else as well. So what really matters is the activity of these bots, not just the number of them versus the number of users or number of bots that are users. So activity is very important. So what percentage of activity on social media is bots? Even if we give 5% of the users are bots, what percentage of the activity do those users command? And really all you need to know to do the math there is to know how much more active are bots than humans. Before you answer that question, note that bots are created with the sole intention of interacting and working on these platforms. They are created by foreign governments sometimes, by hackers, by malicious actors, by commercial entities. They're designed to be active. So how much more active are they than humans? Well, let's look at Twitter's API rules. Twitter API rules say 800 tweets an hour. Anything under that, you're not necessarily a bot. Anything over that, you're a bot. 800 tweets an hour is not something any human has even ever done once, forget about regularly. So the fact that the limit is so high means bots have a huge amount of space to operate, much more active than regular humans who might tweet once a day or twice a day on average. So with that in mind, then we can do the math. If you just assume that bots are 100 times more active than humans, then that means 84% of all activity, likes, comments, shares on Twitter are bots driven. If you believe that they're 1,000 times more active, which may well be the case on things that are more important topics like geopolitical topics, divisive topics, trending topics, commercial topics, then that math would mean that 50 over 50.95 of all activity, or 98% of all activity, is bot driven. That should be a pretty startling and concerning number. That means 50%, 80 to 98% of likes, of comments, of followers are driven by bots. That's crazy. Why would these sites allow all these bots? Well, it comes down to their business model. Really, the business model of these sites is to get advertising dollars and advertisers, and convince the advertisers not to advertise on Super Bowls and on Super Bowl ads and billboards and traditional advertising, which was based on impressions, cost per 1,000 impressions, CPM, and they pull them into more engaging ads online, more measurable ads, cost per click, cost per action. They promise engagement online. Well, bots certainly are very engaging. I should know a certain thing or two about this because I started something called Flipagram. Flipagram was an app that in the 2013-2014 time period became the #1 fastest growing app of all time. We had hundreds of millions of downloads very quickly. We allowed people to take user-generated content and marry it with popular music for the first time. We went and got the rights for that. We were just a tool, though. We didn't have a lot of engagement on our platform, people would use Flipagrams and post them on Instagram and Snapchat and other places. So we started running into growth problems. Along came a site called Musical.ly that looked at the object that we had created and really targeted preteens, 8 to 12-year-olds, which ran them afoul of COPPA, Child Online Protection Act laws down the line. But initially, they really captivated that group. And the way we saw that they were captivating them was with a sort of a dark pattern, a fake engagement here. When you push the little heart button, the number would go up by 1. And so you would think these are likes. Kids, of course, likes, they become popular because of them. But we noticed that they were getting 10, 100 times more likes than the number of views and the amount of traffic that they had would warrant. And in fact, their likes to comment ratios initially were way off. They were getting thousands of likes or hearts and no comments, or very few comments. That started changing when alongside people complaining that they were getting fake or bot comments. So they, the like ratio started getting better, but like the comment ratio, but they're getting bots there. They ran into, as I said, FCC regulations against child endangerment. They had to do the biggest settlement ever, and they started running into problems. We'd run into growth problems. Both of our platforms got picked up by an Chinese AI company called ByteDance, who merged our two teams and created something called TikTok out of it, which everybody knows. TikTok added on top of our Musical.ly's UI, they added this For You AI that could basically pick out all the attributes of videos that you liked, of comments that you liked, the type of speech patterns you had, everything, and they could present you more things that you would find engaging. And of course, you know, comments, likes, and profiles, users coming to you that fit your mold of what you like engaging would be incredibly engaging as well. What's to prevent TikTok from having used their AI to create fake likes and fake comments, fake users, fake interactions? Really not much. I mean, they are owned by the Chinese government or controlled in part by the Chinese government, and it's that's not necessarily a very an entity that minds kind of engaging us and pulling us in various different directions. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing it. I don't know if they are or aren't. Back to why they would do it. TikTok is the most valuable startup in the world. It turns out that having these dark patterns of engaging people in various different ways is pretty darn valuable in the sense that you can pull people. All of advertisement is manipulation to try to push people into one direction or another. Now, it depends what you're trying to manipulate people to do. It's quite dangerous, though, that you don't know if you're being manipulated by a non-player character or by a real character. So what could possibly go wrong? So maybe we buy some extra things or spend a little extra time on this. Well, what could possibly go wrong is it goes back to thinking about Twitter and thinking about its role in our society. Elon called it the public square, and that's a very good way to think about it. Journalists and others look to Twitter to identify trends, to see what people are talking about, to see who's popular, what's popular, and you know, if you have bot likes, you're sort of creating fake trends. If you have bot comments, you could be creating fake divisiveness on issues. You could be having bots arguing with bots and pulling people into the fight on each side and making things seem much more divisive than they are. And if you have bot followers, you could create fake popularity, popularity. What could that lead to? Well, let's look at an example here. This is an interesting and famous example that Trump in 2016 surprised himself, surprised a lot of people, where he had 80 million followers suddenly very quickly amassed to him on Twitter. He became the Twitter president. If you remember, that led to lots and lots of media coverage, people speculating how on earth could he be so popular, what could be going on here, whatever else. That led to the Republican Party giving him their nomination and all those votes electing him president. Now, why would I speculate that this may be followers, quote unquote? Well, as you know, he got kicked off of Twitter in 2020 for violating their rules, and he started his own thing called Truth Social, and Truth Social never took off. In fact, if you look at it today, it's 514K daily active users, 2 million monthly active users, only 3.9 million total lifetime downloads. That's 5% of the total followers that he had on Twitter. And he implored everybody to come up. Their Business Insider recently called Truth Social a conservative ghost town that's been overrun by bots. So if a large number of percentage of those may be bots as well. So the reality that was created might have been fake news itself, that there were no 80 million fans and followers, real people following them. There's obviously lots of foreign interference and other actors that may have been interested in having such a divisive president. But you know, so what do we do now? Maybe it's good news to you that you know, Trump himself may have been fake news. It isn't to me. There's another election coming up, 2024. These bots and the AI are getting smarter. They're getting better at writing. They're getting better at they can even paint and make images. There are actually bot influencers out there right now that are declared AI, that are just acting as real influencers on Instagram and other places. It's quite a dangerous place that we find ourselves in, and I feel we need a show us your bots law before it's too late. We need to target the workers at these companies, and we need to tell them that if you can identify or should reasonably be able to identify bots on your platform, you can and will be held criminally liable even as a low-level engineer, unless you immediately and in writing request to your superiors that these bots be publicly identified, and also file a report with the FCC to that effect. Criminal charges can be pressed using existing laws for aiding and abetting false impersonation for financial gain or benefit. That's exactly what's happening. You're falsely impersonating a person to make financial gain or benefit for the company. And these laws are punishable as up to a felony with up to 3 years imprisonment and a 10K fine. I believe if we put a law like that on the books, we'll have lots of folks at these organizations working much harder to identify the bots that are on the platforms and labeling them. And labeling a bot is really good, because then if you see that these bots are there, you may decide a different reality than what you're being fed. You may not realize that those lots of the interactions and things, 98% of the interactions may be fake. That would change your reality. Of course, if you choose to then continue down the path, good for you. At least you know you're playing with a non-player character, and that's fine as well. But you have a right to know if you're being interacted with and manipulated by something that's not living, not another human. That's the least you can do. And I believe that if we can put this law on the books, humans will win. All humanity will win. If we can't, I feel like we're going down a rabbit hole that may be very hard to control, because there are lots of malicious players out there, lots of manipulation that's happening, and we don't want to be in that position. Thank you so much. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at Farhad667 on social media, or Farhad@botfuckers.org if you need to send me an email. Thank you.